Welcome back to DeFi Exploits Explained. Today, how someone with zero money of their own can borrow a fortune against collateral that's secretly almost worthless and walk off with a lending pool's cash. It's called price oracle manipulation. And the whole trick is a flash loan that bends a price for a single block. The protocol trusted a number it should never have trusted. We'll build it, drain it, and then fix it. Let's go. Every lending app has to answer one question before it hands you a loan. What is your collateral actually worth? To get that number, it asks something called an oracle, which is really just a price source. The lazy, cheap way to build one is to peek at the current price on a single exchange and trust it. But here's the problem. That price is nothing more than the exchange's own reserves, and as we'll see, anyone with enough cash for one moment can shove that price wherever they want. And this is not hypothetical. Flash loan and oracle attacks have drained hundreds of millions of dollars from real protocols, names like BZTX, Harvest Finance, Cheese Bank, and Mango Markets. The common thread is always the same, a protocol that trusts the instant price of a single pool. And flash loans make it free to pull off because you can borrow millions of dollars for one transaction with none of your own money, as long as you pay it all back by the end of that same transaction. Let's slow this right down, because the trick only clicks once you see that it plays two different places against each other. There's an exchange, a place where you swap dollars for WETH and back. And there's a bank, a lending app, where you pledge something valuable and borrow money against it. The whole con works because the bank blindly trusts the exchange's price. Start with the exchange. Nobody here sets the price of WETH by hand. The price is just a ratio of what's sitting in the pool. Picture a tank holding 100 WETH and $200,000. Divide the dollars by the WETH, 200,000 over 100, and each WETH is worth $2,000. That's the whole price. The current contents, nothing more. And here's the crack. If you buy up most of the WETH in that tank, you carry the WETH out and leave your dollars behind. So now it holds only about 20 WETH but $1 million. Same division, 1 million over 20, and the price suddenly reads nearly $50,000 a WETH, 25 times higher, purely because you drained the WETH out. Nobody's WETH is actually worth more, you just emptied one tank for a single moment. That spike is what people mean by pumping the price. Now the bank, the lending app, doesn't work out WETH's price for itself, it simply asks the exchange. So if the exchange is screaming $50,000, the bank believes your WETH is worth a fortune, and it will lend you dollars, real dollars, that other people deposited against it. Put the two places together and the con is 5 steps. 1. Flash borrow $1 million, a loan that lasts one transaction, none of it your own money. 2. Take that money to the exchange and spend $800,000 buying up its WETH, which empties the tank and pumps the price to nearly $50,000. 3. Carry that same WETH over to the bank and deposit it as collateral. 4. The bank checks the exchange, reads the fake price, decides your WETH is worth a fortune, and hands you its entire pot, a full $1 million. 5. You repay the flash loan from step 1 and you simply never repay the bank, then you walk away with $200,000. That's the key. There are 2 loans and only one ever gets paid back. The flash loan gets repaid, it has to, or the whole thing unwinds. The bank's million never does, and that unpaid million is the stolen money. The bank is left holding your WETH, really worth about 160,000 in place of the million it gave out. Money ordinary people had deposited to earn interest. The whole thing is like flashing a fake bank statement for 10 seconds to take out a giant loan, then vanishing before anyone rechecks the balance. Let's build it in Foundry. Our lab has 3 pieces: a DEX pool that prices WETH straight off its reserves, a lending pool that reads that live price to decide how much you can borrow, and a flash lender that will front the attacker millions for a single transaction. Everything is local, against no real users and no real money. We start with the skeleton of the lending pool. You can deposit WETH as collateral, and you can borrow dollars against it up to whatever that collateral is worth. And where does that worth come from? An oracle, a price source the pool trusts. The functions are empty for now. Let's fill in the dangerous part. Here's the heart of it. The most you can borrow is simply your collateral times whatever price the oracle reports, scaled to keep the units clean. And here is the oracle the pool trusts, the spot oracle, which just reads the DEX pool's live price straight off its reserves. That one line is the entire vulnerability, because the price the lending pool trusts is exactly the price the attacker can move. Nothing here looks wrong, and that is precisely why they ship it in real protocols. Before we run it, let's read the attack itself. The searcher flash borrows $1 million, swaps most of it into the pool to pump WETH's price, then deposits the WETH they just bought. With the price now inflated, they borrow the maximum the lending pool will allow and repay the flash loan in the same breath. The test then checks two things: that the attacker walked away with a profit and that the pool was left with bad debt. Collateral worth far less than the money it lent out. Run it and read the numbers. The true price was $2,000 per WETH, but after the attacker's pump, the pool reports almost $50,000. Against that fake price, the attacker, who started with $0 of their own, walks away with $200,000 in profit. And the lending pool lent out a full $1 million against collateral truly worth only about $160,000. The rest is bad debt, a hole that someone else, the pool's honest depositors, are left to eat. Passing green means the drain worked exactly as designed. So how do you stop this? The whole attack rested on one weak point. The app trusted a price that a single swap could move. The fix is to use a price a single swap cannot move. Option 1 is a Chainlink feed, a price aggregated from many exchanges and reported on chain by a whole network of independent nodes, so no one trade on one pool can budget. Option 2 is a time-weighted average price, a TWAP, which averages the price over many blocks, so to fake it you'd have to hold the lie steady for a long time, which is ruinously expensive. Either way, when the attacker pumps that one pool, the honest oracle barely notices, the collateral gets valued correctly, and there is simply no fortune to borrow against. Here's the fix in code, and it's almost nothing. We swap the spot oracle for a fixed oracle, which stands in for a Chainlink feed or a TWAP, a price source that can't be shoved around in a single transaction. Notice the lending pool itself doesn't change at all. It still just asks the oracle for a price. The only thing we changed is which price source it trusts, and that is the whole fix. Now we run the exact same attack against the fixed version. And it reverts, the whole transaction unwinds and fails, because the honest oracle refuses to overvalue the collateral. The attacker can't borrow enough dollars to pay back the flash loan, and the flash loan that isn't repaid cancels the entire transaction. No inflated price, no giant loan, no payday, the same attack, and it simply doesn't work anymore. Was one more thing, because a passing test on a local lab can feel like a sandbox. To prove this is real, I deployed the exact same setup, the DEX pool, the naive lending app, a flash lender, and the attacker contract to Sepolia, a public Ethereum testnet, through my own Chainstack node. Then I fired the attack, and this time it's the honest version. A flash loan is atomic, so the whole thing is a single transaction, not separate stepped. Let's read it. And here it is on Sepolia's Etherscan. One transaction. In a real attack, there's no pre-funding and no separate steps. It's a flash loan, so the whole thing is atomic. It all happens inside a single transaction, or none of it does. Look at its token transfers, 6 of them, and they are the entire attack in order. 1. The flash lender sends the attacker $1 million. 2. The attacker dumps 800,000 of it into the pool, pumping the price from 2,000 to nearly 50,000. 3. Gets back about 80 WETH. 4. Deposits that WETH into the lending app as collateral, which now reads the insane price and thinks it's worth a fortune. 5. The attacker borrows $1 million, the app's entire balance, that's the drain. 6 repays the flash loan the full million. 6 moves 1 transaction, and that atomicity is the whole point. If any step had failed, the flash loan wouldn't get repaid, which isn't allowed, so the entire transaction reverts. It either all works or nothing happens. The attacker walks away with $200,000, starting from 0 of their own money, and the pool is left with the bad debt, 1 transaction on a public chain, and you can inspect every hop yourself. Quick recap. A lending app is only ever as safe as the price source it trusts. If that source is the instant price of a single pool, a flash loan can shove it in 1 transaction with no capital at all, overvalue the collateral, overborrow against it, and drain the pool starting from nothing. The fix is to use a manipulation-resistant oracle, a Chainlink feed, or a time-weighted average, so that no single swap can move the number the whole protocol depends on. A quick note, rebuilding this hack safely and explaining them line by line takes real work. If it helps you, the wallets are on screen and there's a Ko-fi link below. Every tip funds the next breakdown. Thank you. And that's price oracle manipulation. A borrowed 1 block price that tricks a protocol into handing over everything, rebuilt and fixed in a couple dozen lines. Next episode, another DeFi exploit rebuilt from scratch and then fixed, so you can see exactly how it works and exactly how to stop it. Subscribe so you don't miss it. Tell me in the comments which exploit to break down next, and I'll see you there.